Buenos días, mi gente, y bienvenidos una vez más a estos podcasts que estamos haciendo. Mi nombre es Kevin, como ustedes saben, y hoy va a ser un día especial. Hoy vamos a tener con nosotros, como de costumbre, al señor Ronnie Robles, y también tenemos a Jonathan Sunnex Freediver. Saludos, muchachos.
Saludos. Johnny, hello, bro. How you been doing?
Good, bro. Good. How are you?
Very good, guys. Today is a different thing because we're always doing these live videos and we always do it in Spanish. Of course, we're in Puerto Rico. We're part of the United States, but there's a lot of friends that doesn't speak Spanish. So I said, let's do something in English. And it was for me a pleasure to invite you, Johnny. You be a good instructor trainer. I consider you one of the best instructor trainers, free divers in the world, that people can understand you. And I've been following you, and I know that you got a lot of people that you've been. How much experience do you have about teaching in free diving and instructing people? And you're also the owner of the Blue Element in Dominica. So Johnny, how you been doing, bro? I know that you're in New Zealand right now, right?
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show, Ronnie. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, everything's going pretty good. The situation in New Zealand is good. We're starting to loosen the controls. We can get out, we can exercise, and yeah, life is pretty good.
I mean, you are right now, you are almost, what's your time right now there?
Right now it's 1:45.
Quarter to one.
Lunchtime.
Lunchtime. Okay. Here we're at sunset, almost 7 p.m. It's different for you. So you were in the Caribbean for how long? How long did you visit your house, your home, New Zealand?
I've been away from New Zealand for 3 years. It was my first time back for quite some time. I don't get home too often because, as you know, it's a long way to travel from the Caribbean to New Zealand. Most of my time I spend in Dominica, and that's where we have the school Blue Element. Yeah, so, I'm used to Caribbean time and Caribbean lifestyle, but yeah, it's good to be back and spending time with family, but I'm missing the warm blue waters of Dominica.
Yeah, you know what? I'm seeing you with the long hair and the beard. I just make a haircut. I took my mustache like a few hours ago, and I feel clean. And when I see you, I say, oh my God, I was like that. But you always been like that with long hair. I saw you only a few times with short hair, but you got it like, now it's Johnny again. And
that's
Johnny,
right, yeah. This is the lockdown look, Ronnie.
That's the lockdown, man. And so I heard that New Zealand right now, I don't know if I heard right, but New Zealand right now, they got under control the COVID, right? The COVID-19.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be going in the right direction. Hopefully, there's no more community spread. The controls are starting to get a little bit more relaxed. So 75% of our workforce has returned. We're still doing social distancing, and I think this is going to continue for quite some time. But the next 2 weeks is, let's say, a bit of a trial period. If the number of cases don't continue to rise, then we may see it get a little bit more relaxed. If things go the way they've been going, then I think within a month we'll have nothing more than a handful of cases.
Okay,
so, yeah,
okay. That's well. Great, man. So, and Johnny, how you been already doing the Blue Element competition? How many years been already? 3, 4 years already, right?
Well, we've hosted the competition 3 times. There was 1 year where we had to cancel right before the event was due to start, thanks to Hurricane Maria. Dominica was devastated, as was Puerto Rico. And yeah, it came at a pretty bad time. We had athletes already on the island, and I was stuck in Miami at the time because of the previous hurricane, Irma.
Yeah.
And then we had to switch focus from running the event to trying to help out with hurricane relief. So that's what we did.
Yeah, and right now Dominica is quite recovered because I've seen some beautiful pictures again, right?
Yeah, it's incredible how fast nature can recover. Like, I would say within 12 months, the island was looking very green again. It was looking like you could still see some places where it had hit, but it was almost fully recovered. Now that we're 2 years down the track, I think the island looks as good as it did before the hurricane.
Okay, I see, I see. So when you guys are planning to come back, the Blue Element, when you have your new plans for the Blue Element 2020?
So obviously, it's all dependent on the COVID situation. If if we manage to get COVID under control and travel is possible and there's no risk of infecting the people on the island, then we hope to run the event again in November. So this has been, let's say, one of the positives about running our competition at the end of the year. Generally speaking, we're the last major event on the competition calendar. So yeah,
Okay, okay.
maybe it's going to benefit us and allow us to still host the competition. Nearly every other competition this year has been cancelled.
Yeah, I see in the Blue Element the beautiful thing of when you're in the Caribbean and in Dominica, that I seen that clear water that you got there in Dominica, so calm and beautiful with plenty marine life that you guys have there. So
Mm.
it's a beautiful experience for the free divers that want to go to something different, because you got competitions in Curacao, you got in Bonaire, you got in Bahamas, and when you see Dominica, you got so much beautiful these conditions. You got the perfect
Mm.
temperature, you got the perfect water temperature, you got beautiful rivers. Yeah, so you got everything there.
Yeah, I mean they call it the nature island of the Caribbean for for exactly that. The bay that we dive in is surrounded by beautiful green forest and mountains. The bay is protected from like the winds, and we don't have any current, we don't have any waves. We've got pretty much unlimited depth, and yeah, lots of marine life. So it's pretty much perfect. I'd say unless there's a hurricane, we've got perfect conditions every day of the year.
All right. So, Johnny, I got a question. As a free diver, as a competitor, because I know you were working, taking care of people, like teaching, training instructors, training rescue divers. What's your personal deepest dive?
The
Um,
deepest the deepest I've ever been was 110 meters, and that was with a monofin. Um, with free immersion, which is pulling down the rope and pulling back up the rope, I've been to 101 meters, and I've played around on a sled before and did 105 meters. So those are my deepest dives.
so
With
you
no
guys
fin,
can understand, the measuring, you got over 320 feet, 330 around. So that's what
360
they,
feet.
360 feet. So that's what you call it, Johnny Depp. It's a good diver. He was one of my trainers,
Yeah.
very good teacher, best patients ever. And I personally, I was talking to my wife. I want to go to Dominica because I see so many beautiful pictures there, so many stuff there that it invites you there. And I
Mm,
gotta tell you something. What's the comparison when you're in New Zealand, which is your home, which is your
mm.
nationality, um, comparing to the Caribbean? Right now the temperatures are not the same, the environment not the same. So what you do right now with the situation of the COVID-19 and maybe the temperature, what do you do to maintain your training? What do you do, or what can you recommend people to do? Because a lot of people, even if they're in the Caribbean, some people are locked down.
Mm.
So what stretching techniques or what exercises techniques you can teach to people? I'll show or us or how you say recommend to people.
Okay, so what you can do is probably gonna vary depending on your situation. You know, if you are able to get out and exercise, then in this moment, I don't think it's completely necessary that you focus on only apnea training. You know, you could be like, for example, now I'm not doing any apnea specific training. I'm running, I'm cycling, I'm doing resistance training. I've got some very basic weights. I'm using like household items to make weights. I've got a bar. I've got some old tires, and I'm lifting weights like this, or I'm throwing around logs of wood.
You're
If you
doing
have
like
access,
like CrossFit literally.
pretty much, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you have to make use of what you have around you, uh,
Yes.
and because there's no hurry to be rushing into your apnea training. The situation is still going to continue for some time before we can uh, travel and I don't know, go to deeper spots. When do you think the people will be able to return to the ocean there, Ronnie?
Well, here is. unpredictable. The reason is that to get here, um, the government making a mess, and here the lockdown is reasonable. People respect a lot staying home. Um, Here, the pharmacies are open, but all the official lockdown is at 6:30. So everybody got to be home at 6:30. On weekends, on Sundays, everything is closed. Um, the ocean, the only people allowed to go to the ocean are the commercial fishermen here in Puerto Rico. Nobody can go, which is, I find it that is quite, in some way, is good. In some way, it's bad because here in Puerto Rico, you got so many marinas. In Fajardo, which is my hometown, we got 12 marinas. So you got plenty islands. Maybe in the islands they can have the social distance, but maybe in the marinas you don't want to know how it's gonna be. So
Yeah.
I think for now it's okay like that. I'm not against or with the regulations, but I think for now it's okay that way. But I think it's gonna be soon open again. People here in Puerto Rico, people are about drinking and beach, ocean, swimming. So the tourists, we got to forget about tourists for quite a long time. Even in Puerto Rico, are some planes working and people are landing, and from every part of the world, people are coming here. But I really think it's going to be soon, which is positive in some way, but it makes you worry how people are going to react when they open the gates,
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, my suggestion would be that people focus on like their base training type activities. So, they can be just getting their body prepared, doing strengthening. They can be stretching, and if you want, you can be doing some either static apneas, or you can be doing exercises whilst holding your breath. So either walking around the apartment or doing apnea squats, various exercises.
I saw them all chant up, stretching, which is quite interesting too. And so people can follow that. Here, people, I see some people that walk, jog, relax around. I don't see the cops doing. I don't know if it's illegal or not, but that's plenty things to do. And one thing that here in Puerto Rico that I always talking about is that free divers and sparrows diet. Some people excuse, oh, I'm locked down, I'm gonna eat whatever. I think this is the moment that you gotta. Yesterday, that's what we were talking with a good friend of mine. He's a very famous coach, Randy Soler, and I said, man, that's not an excuse. You even in your house can take care of yourself, and that's the moment that you can meditate and think about your body and how you're gonna be doing this, working with the situation, and
Yeah,
getting
for sure.
advantage of it.
Now is the time where you have the time to prepare your meals. You don't
Yeah.
have to go out and buy something quick and easy. Now you have the time. So if you're not already interested in cooking, or you don't already know how to cook, it's also a good time to learn. And in this way, we have good control over what we eat.
Yeah. That's what most of the things we hear. Because when we go in my boat spear fishing, well, I know what I'm gonna eat, but you see guys with a big sandwich like this, 1 foot long sandwich, and cheese and bread and a lot of stuff. And some of them, oh, I feel sick. I think it's the diesel film. No, man, it's not diesel film. It's a big thing that you ate.
Yeah.
So so the reason that Kevin and I do these live videos is just to motivate not only sparrows or free divers, any person that like to see something different, and invite people to do free diving and spear fishing or any kind of fishing which is good for yourself, in a good way. It is the reason that we do this kind of things, and the reason that we invite you here, because you're very, for me, you're very significant. You're an example for me, because I learned so much in the month that we were there in the Bahamas, which is like being in Afghanistan, because there's nothing there to do. Only blue hole, blue hole, blue hole, blue hole. Nothing much to eat, nothing much to do. Blue hole, blue hole, blue hole. And it's a big experience. And you're a guy that I consider one of the best in the world. Good instructor, trainer, good teacher. And you got all the patience so people can hear you and understand you quite clear, And I got a question. You got an Australia passport too. You're also an Australian citizen, right?
No, I don't have I don't have an Australian passport.
No.
Maybe you saw I did a joke one time just to like kind
Oh,
of
so I was confused. Johnny's from New Zealand and he got Australian passport, you know? And so when you're planning to go back to Dominica, Johnny?
Well, it's all dependent on when we can travel, you know.
Okay.
At the moment, I would say it's not going to be before sort of July, August.
Okay.
That's the reality of it. For me to get there from New Zealand, there's obviously a lot of places I have to pass through mainland US, and I just don't know what the situation is. So
Yeah. So for now, you think the Blue Element 220 for now is on hold?
no, obviously we're waiting to see what happens with the situation. But in saying that, we've got all the players in place. You know, we've got our crew members. We've been speaking to our sponsors, and if the situation is going to allow us to run the event, then we'll go ahead and run the event. You know, it's November, so we have got time, but I can't say 100% yes right now, and we just have to keep listening, keep watching.
Okay. How many days last the Blue Element competition?
So 6 competition days, but it takes place over an 8-day period. We've got it so we have 2 days of diving, then 1 day of rest, 2 days of diving, 1 day of rest, and then 2 more days of diving. Like this, the athletes can pace themselves and they can do more maximal performances. If we were to go, say, 3 days or 6 days in a row, nobody would be able to compete on all of those days. If we did 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, again, there's 1 less rest day in there. So we just give the athletes a little bit more space to compete and to rest and recover, and then they can do bigger performances.
Okay. So in your competition, you guys got free immersion.
We have all of the depth disciplines. So
okay,
we
you
have
got all the depths.
constant weight with a monofin, constant weight with bifins, constant weight with no fins, and free immersion.
Okay, no static. That's the only one that you guys don't have. Static, right?
No static, no dynamic, only the depth.
Okay.
Only the depth.
Only vertical. Only vertical. Yeah. All right. Beautiful. You know, that's one of the things that a good friend of us, Matthias, was there. He was there in the competition, or he went there just to vacation?
He came to do some training for himself.
Okay, that's great.
He came in quite early on when we'd been there, not for so long. Maybe 2016, I think he came.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Dominica for the first time in 2015, and so we've come a long way since then. And I'd say Dominica is, well, for me, it's the best place on earth for training. You know, I've been to Blue Hole in Dahab, been to Blue Hole in the Bahamas, and our conditions are as good or better than anywhere else that I've ever been. You know, we have the consistency, and we have warmer water than those places. Mm-hmm. And you know, like it's maybe a little bit lesser known than Dean's Blue Hole and the Blue Hole in Dahab, but I feel like it's being more and more known in the freediving world.
Okay, Johnny, and question that I have: how long you been as an instructor training and teaching already? How long you been?
I became a freediving instructor in 2011. Before that, I was a scuba diving instructor. And I became an instructor trainer in, I think, 2013.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've been a lot of years teaching a lot of people, hundreds of people you've been teaching already, huh?
Yeah, there's been quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been having a long ride of training people, and I tell you for a fact that you are a good trainer. You got all the things that you need, because there's a lot of people, that maybe can have the training, but not the patience to make people feel comfortable. And you can be a good competitor, and maybe you can be an instructor trainer, but you don't have the skills in the best way to train any person. And I found, and I studied you, because like I remember when I was in 2014 in the Bahamas, when you told me I was a scuba instructor, and in the moment I was a dive master scuba too, because I've been doing charters for almost 20 years, been doing charters and in the water, working with people. And I said, this guy is a good trainer, and I consider it is one of the best, you know, and that's a very, very good thing. And so Johnny, another question that I have, because you being sponsoring is sponsored by Alchemy Fins. They're from Greece, right? If
That's right.
I'm
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I saw for the first time those fins, carbon fins, and they were great. They look beautiful, and I used them in 2014, and I love them. I used in that moment the B2s, and they were amazing. And I've been seeing that you're being as an ambassador of the alchemy fins. What can you tell me those fins?
Okay, so what I can tell you about the alchemy fins, since the ones that you tried back in 2014, there's been at least 2 or 3 more models. So, the progression or development continues. They pay special attention to detail, and they're always looking to improve their fins. So, I mean, I'm lucky being a sponsored athlete. I get to try all their latest stuff, and I get to provide them with feedback and help them with the development. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I use them for a reason. I think they are the best fins on the market. They feel like an extension of your leg. They don't feel like they're fins. So
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible. Um,
Um, I love those fins. I use them, and I never have a chance to buy them. I'm planning to buy in the future. One thing that is very important when you buy fins, and I remember when you used to tell us like, do like standing vertical, try like kicking, because a lot of people buy fins because they just like them, and
mm,
they don't try them how comfortable they are, the blade, how stiff or soft it is, and
mm,
that's the moment that you know that that person maybe is not using the right fin because they just want to buy a carbon fin, and maybe they got a problem of kicking. They do a bicycle riding movement. They twist the knees, and right now a lot of people are teaching them like, hey, the correct way to use fins. You just don't buy it because you like it. You gotta make sure that that fin and that stiffness is the correct for you. You got soft, medium soft, and you got hard kicking, which is I most hard like hard blade. I don't see them much anymore because I see most people like light, like soft, medium. That's the most that I can see. What can you tell us about that?
okay. Yeah, having the right fin for you will make a big difference. I think something that I see often is that sparrows tend to get fins that are too soft for them. Oh, sorry, too soft, too stiff for them. So if you're unable to keep a straight leg as you're kicking, okay, or look, a little bit of gentle bend is okay, but if you're not able to keep your leg mostly straight when you're kicking, then your blade is too stiff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the best thing is obviously to be able to try a type of fin before you buy it, and you also want to make sure that the foot pocket fits you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, the foot pocket you can try on in the shop most of the time, and yeah, make sure you go to a place that the guys know what they're talking about to tell you if you've got a good fitting fin, not just they're trying to sell you equipment just to make money. You want to have knowledgeable people that can tell you if it's right for you. If you can try on fins in the water, then that's the best approach. And again, like if you're new to it, hopefully you can try it on with somebody who knows what they're doing, to give you feedback to tell you if it's the right fin.
Yeah, it's a lot of here in Puerto Rico. We got a lot of how you call situations with the sparrows, because, like as a instructor, trainer, as a competitor, as a all the spirits that we have. When you see sparrows, we do a lot of bad habits. Um, our body positioning, our
Mm,
kicking techniques, our heads, our shin. When you're spearing, you're kind of doing, I don't want to say directly like irresponsible movements because you have a different situations. And maybe it's not the best way to describe it, but you're doing kind of like things that you're not supposed to do because in a different situations, okay? And here you got a lot of guys that they just buy, oh, I don't like this fins because they're too short. I want long. I asked them like, why you want longer fins? Why you want? Yeah, because I think it's better in the surface. I said, are you sure? Why? And when I see them in the water, what you see in these guys bending the knees, doing a bicycle riding, and when you started to teach them the correct way to do the perfect way of kicking, they say, "Oh, this fin is too hard." I say, "Yeah, now it's too hard because you didn't know how to kick. So now you got to know your body,
Mm.
how you're gonna use it." And especially you see all these things with sparrows, the weights. It's a different thing. Of course, when you're spearing, you do a little different techniques and rigging in your body that freediving. You're doing different things. But most of the things that you have the problems with the kicking, with the left movements, the wrong things for them. That's what most of here the problems that you have.
Yeah.
And so it's very always we always talking about that, 'cause it's like very 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 common to see this here, because we got here our community of free divers are more spear fishermen,
Yeah.
and you got a lot of short fish from shore spear fishermen, from boat spear fishermen, deep spear fishermen, shallow water spear fishermen. So everything is different. And sometimes guys too skinny with a very stiff blade because they just like it, and they said they feel it better in the current. I said, man, no, everything is wrong for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so for me, I think my biggest piece of advice for someone, if you're new to spearfishing, or actually even if you've been spearfishing for a very long time but you've never attended a formal freediving course or spearfishing specific course, I would recommend that that's what you do. You go and learn how to move in the water. You go and learn about the correct body positions, the correct finning positions, because all of these sorts of things are going to mean that you're able to get under the water for longer, you're able to stay down there for longer, you're able to go deeper, you're able to do it more safely, you're able to look after your buddy, and your buddy is hopefully going to do the course with you, and then he'll be able to look after you. It's
Definitely.
it's a sport that requires some education before we get into it, and with the right education, then it'll make all the difference. You could go
Hmm.
out and buy the most expensive pair of fins or the most expensive spear gun. Doesn't mean you're going to shoot more fish with it.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're better off investing the money into you. You are the machine that drives it.
You're
If you
the
can,
Indian. We call it the Indian. It's not the arrow. It's the Indian.
exactly. See,
Is the hunter. That's what I spoke like few live videos ago about. It's more you about people buying the spear gun. First, take care of yourself, your body, the correct things, correct way of kicking. Take care of watch the depths that you go. I always recommend to the sparrows. It's very important to have a dive watch because dive watch helps you a lot. Recognize your body, watch your contractions. Always with a friend, a buddy. Here, here in Puerto Rico, we got a big mix of sparrows. Some guys use reel on the guns, some guys use floats and buoys on the guns, and it's a mix depending what we are. But I said to people here in the East Coast, we got a lot of rough sea, so I always recommend people go with a float and a line because it's more safety, you know. And I always
yeah, it's also a lot nicer for the guy on the boat knowing where your diver's gone.
you never have a problem with that. With the reel, I mean, it's good because you don't have to carry that, but it's so important to have that float and that line. You got a cramp, you got a situation, whatever, you got this float, and it helps you out, and it helps from the boats, so you don't get hit about with the boats. And
Yep.
we always talking about that. And I always tell people like, you got to first know your body, know your kicking, know what equipment you're using, what's the correct mask, the wetsuit, your weight. You got to know your body. It's the
Mm.
most important thing. And of course, always with somebody, because we got here situations of, we got a close friend that died 4 years ago from a blackout doing spear fishing. Only one case in the island. Everybody takes care of it. But from that moment, people are more careful. And I always advise to friends like, hey, see at least on YouTube how you get a blackout, how to save a blackout. And we speak about blackouts and talk a little bit about blackouts if you can speak.
Yeah, I mean, to me, blackouts are an unnecessary part of the sport. If you're blacking out, you're pushing yourself too hard, or um, or you're getting yourself into a situation that you're not prepared for. I've been diving seriously for almost a decade, well, and more before that.
Hmm.
I've never had a blackout in my whole life. I've never had a samba. So it's not necessary. If I can go to 360 feet and not have a blackout, then why should anyone have a blackout doing a 60-foot or 100-foot dive, or you know what I mean?
Yep, that's what I always say to people.
But this is also where the education comes into play. You know, by getting that formal education, you're able to give yourself the knowledge, the skills, to look after yourself and look after your friends. You know what I mean? And that's to me, that's the only way of doing the sport. It's not about, and for me, it's not about selling a course. I don't care about that. But this is how you're going to prevent yourself from killing yourself, and how your friends are going to, know how to look after you, and vice versa.
You know, I always compare freediving courses and education like you're a street dancer, and maybe you think you dance because you invent your steps. And when you go to ballet or any formal dance, like a nice salsa from the salon, it's way different. You know how to position your body. You make a nice dance, and everybody will say, "Oh, this guy is a dancer." You know. So I always compare that when you take the correct course and you take, and you learn from the course, there's no reason. I mean, if you've been negligent, to get a blackout, because you learn your limits. You will learn when I have to hydrate myself, when I have to eat something to get energy. You know how to stretch your body before going to the water. So you it's a good way to learn about you and your body.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly as you say there, Ronnie. It prepares you for the situations, and means that you're less likely to run into any problems. So
here's very, 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 very famous. We've been doing spearfishing tournaments. We got a big community. We're an island with 2.5 million approximately, and it's 100 by 35 miles wide by 100 miles long. I mean, it looks. When you come to the island, we got so many mountains that you take 4 hours to cross the island, but it's a big island, even if you see small size in the map, and you get in all parts of the island, sparrows going every day to the water, and big community of guys, a lot of guys. You got from commercial free diving sparrows to recreational, daily sparrows, sports sparrows. You name it, and we always taking care of. This is the reason that we're doing these live videos so people can see it. We got a big community of guys that speak English in the island here that doesn't speak Spanish, and that's the reason that we invite Jonathan Sunnex, good free diving instructor, trainer, owner of the Blue Element, and a good advisor. And I really, Johnny, thank you for being with us today. I know that you've been heading to the beach to go some surfing, because I know that it's not been easy to be in this lockdown, huh?
Yeah, man, I need to get me some vitamin C. So it's been like 5 weeks since I've seen the ocean.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's been a few hours that I don't see the ocean, but I don't want to know that you were living in Dominica, even if you're home and you love whatever in your home is beautiful, you miss that sun, that Caribbean, that ocean, to be in the ocean. When you're part of the ocean, it's something else. It's a lifestyle. It's not a sport.
Yeah, it flows through your blood. Flows through your veins.
So Johnny, it was a pleasure to to have you with us. I'll be planning to have you in the future talk about other more detailed stuff. I know you have a great time and your family been safe, and I wish you the best, bro.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. It's been a pleasure talking to you. So
thank you, guys. Así que, gente, gracias. Tuvimos a Jonathan Sunnex. Así que fue un placer para todos. Fue una entrevista corta. Esperemos la próxima. Tendremos más invitados internacionales. Así que muchas gracias. Johnny, thank you, bro.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks.
Bye. Take care, guys.
Everyone out there who's listening in, and I hope the lockdown goes okay for you guys, and you can return to the ocean pretty soon. So
thank you, man. Take care, guys. Bye.
Okay.
Bueno, gente, eso es todo por hoy. Espero que lo hayan disfrutado. Pueden buscarnos en todas las redes sociales, están ahí abajo. Facebook, en YouTube, en Instagram. Estamos en Spotify también para que puedan escuchar todos los podcasts que estamos haciendo. Y esto es todo por hoy, mi gente. Gracias.